For today's session, we're going to be doing a quick intro of ClassPass and the ClassPass corporate program, and then I'll kick it off to my colleague Marnie, who will be chatting with the founder of Unplug Meditation, Susie Yalof-Schwartz, about the importance of prioritizing mental health, then followed by some time for Q&A, and ending with Christina Huntington of Unplug, who will lead us in a 15-minute meditation, which I'm personally very excited about because it is Wednesday and I definitely need a midweek refresh. But before we get into all of that, I wanted to plug, no pun intended, that today's conversation is brought to you by ClassPass Corporate. So a quick little intro of myself and then a little bit about the ClassPass Corporate program. My name is Sadie and I'm an account exec on the ClassPass Corporate team. I've been at ClassPass for coming up on 4 years and I've been on the corporate team for 2 years now. And a little bit about ClassPass, if you're not familiar, we're the largest fitness and wellness aggregator in the world with 40,000 plus fitness studios, gyms, and wellness partners spanning 30 countries and 2,500 cities. So we're all over the map. We started the corporate program about 2.5 years ago now, and we provide over 2,000 companies and their employees with a ClassPass fitness and wellness benefit. So a lot of people know ClassPass for our fitness and our gyms, but we also have a plethora of wellness options as well that you can access through our platform. That's things like cryotherapy, acupuncture, sports recovery, massage, and of course, meditation. And then just a quick little overview of the corporate experience for your employees and then for employers. So on the employee side of things, your employees would sign up for a monthly credit package, and then they would use those credits to book into different fitness classes and gym time experiences and wellness services. And we have a super user-friendly app and platform. So it geolocates your employees to where they are. So they would see everything that's in their area. But they can also filter their search by a different location if they're traveling, a specific activity they're looking for, how many credits they want to spend, the time of class they're looking to book into. And then once they've booked through our app or online, they show up to the studio and they're on the roster and they're good to go. So it's super seamless booking process. And then on the employer side of things, in addition to providing our employers with data and reporting and marketing communications, we also provide our employers with dedicated account management that can help with any engagement initiatives that you have, including private live stream classes like we've set up a ton this year with Susie from Unplug. And then if you're interested in learning more about the ClassPass corporate program for your team, you can fill out our quick survey following today's discussion, and someone from our team will be in touch with you and we can chat more. But now, the reason that we're all here, I'm going to kick it off to Marnie and Susie.
Thank you so much for kicking us off, Sadie, and giving that great overview of ClassPass Corporate. My name is Marnie, and I am on the account management team here at ClassPass. I'm so excited to chat with Susie from Unplug today. Unplug has been a top partner of ours here at ClassPass, not only for a few years, but especially over the past year and a half. Unplug has allowed us to bring mental health options directly to employees at home. We've partnered, as Sadie mentioned, with countless companies on private live stream sessions with Unplug, and our members can also access live stream classes directly with the Unplug team in ClassPass. So I'm going to start by introducing our guest today, and then we'll kick off our discussion. If you have questions during the chat, feel free to put them in the Q&A function. It'll be almost that far right button at the bottom. So then we're able to either answer your questions in line or address them vocally at the end of the discussion. So without further ado, I'll give background on Susie, who has very impressive credentials as you're here. Susie Yalof-Schwartz is the founder and CEO of the Unplug meditation app and the world's first drop-in secular meditation studio. She is also the author of Unplug, a simple guide to meditation for busy skeptics and modern soul seekers. In 2012, Susie learned a 3-minute meditation that changed her life forever. Prior to this, she was a fashion editor and makeover guru at Vogue, Elle, Marie Claire, and Glamour magazine, with regular appearances on GMA, The Today Show, CBS Early Show, and more. When she discovered meditation, she was determined to keep doing it, but could not find a place to easily learn and practice. After taking hundreds of hours of classes, reading every book possible, and listening to podcasts and lectures from the world's most famous meditation teachers, Susie realized that meditation needed a makeover, and she was the one to do it. Susie's mission is to make meditation simple, accessible, powerful, and interesting enough so that everyone will want to practice it and experience the benefits for themselves. Thanks for joining us, Susie.
Thank you for having me, Marnie and Sadie. I'm so excited to be here and to meet everyone who's on this discussion.
Yes, we are so excited to dive into your expertise. And I'd love to start by hearing just a quick summary of how you discovered personally the importance of mental health at work. I know that you come from a corporate background and actually experienced burnout firsthand.
Well, for those of you who've ever watched The Devil Wears Prada, that was my background. That's how I started. I worked at Vogue, Elle Marie Claire, and Glamour for a really long time, was racing around throughout my life, never really landing in the moment that I was in, not really present, but kind of checking the boxes constantly. And my mother-in-law saw me in this state and told me I needed to breathe. And when she taught me this 3-minute exercise, it changed everything for me. I decided in that moment to stop what I was doing and devote my entire life to sharing this technique with as many people as possible. What I learned was that we can get calm, stop stress, and get focused and even be more productive just in 16 seconds. And it's pretty unbelievable. It's something that we've been teaching with the whole ClassPass wellness audience. It's something that we teach to a lot of different corporations. And I'm obsessed with sharing this far and wide.
That's awesome. And I know that your quick breathing exercise is definitely a go-to for everyone that has taken your session. So do you want to give a little background on how that works and maybe tips on how you can integrate that into your day and between meetings when things get busy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I genuinely believe that most employees want mental health assistance, but they are afraid to talk to their employers about it. They're very stressed. They don't know how to calm themselves down in the moment, and it's so easy. So when we do our corporate programs, we usually start off with this technique that is used by Navy SEALs to help them focus and be present when they have to make key decisions. And it's simple. It's just a box breath. It's basically breathing in through the nose for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 4 seconds, breathing out through the mouth for 4 seconds, and holding your breath for 4 seconds. And what we do in these events is we basically will kind of stress everyone out in the audience. And then we have them kind of do this exercise and ask them if they were able to calm down and were they thinking about the stress. And they always say no at the end. And that's kind of how we start off all of our sessions.
Yeah, and I love that tip because I know many of us, myself included, can be very intimidated by the idea of meditation and feel like it's something where you have to sit on a pillow, you have to make it a whole event, you have to be a pro at it. So being able to do something as quick as 16 seconds to feel a little bit more relaxed is obviously crucial. And I'd love to dive in a little more to the workday side of things, just because all of our listeners today do work in HR. So not only do they have to worry about their own mental health and just taking a moment to breathe whenever it's possible, but they're also in charge of making sure that their employees are taken care of. So I'm curious, as the founder and CEO of a company, what are some tactics that you use with Unplug employees to make sure that they do find that time to step away and take care of themselves?
We do that with our own employees, and we also do it every day with thousands of employees. So what we suggest is to start your morning with meditation. I genuinely believe that if you begin your day before you even get out of bed by hitting the Unplug app for 10 minutes and then starting your day, you will have a much more likely positive day than you would if you started your day looking at the news or looking at your email. Because when you look at the news and when you look at email, you can get a cortisol rush. You have no control over your own emotions and how you're going to respond to things. But when you start your day with meditation, you're able to anchor in on how you want to be, whether it's focused, present, clear, kind, compassionate, or what you want to do. You can set many intentions of the things that you would like to accomplish by the end of the day. You're more likely to do that because you'll be more present throughout the day. And that is the key to meditation. Meditation is very simple. It's just an awareness of being present in the present moment. And I know that sounds so simple, but it's very hard to do because most people are thinking about the future and then they get anxious, or they're thinking about the past, and that can cause depression. So what we like to do is help people be present in our own company and help people be present in the companies around us. One of our clients is Condé Nast Corporation, and they bought the Unplug app for all of their employees as a wellness tool, so that for those who have PTSD, anxiety, stress, can't sleep at night, literally all they need to do is press a button.
Yeah. And I have just a personal question for you too, because I've heard a similar tip that you don't need to be looking at your email or news when you wake up, but we're also addicted to our devices at this point that it's really hard to break that. Do you have any tips that you use to get into a meditation routine in the morning? If you're someone who does automatically just go to your mail app, any ideas on how to stop yourself from doing that?
Marty, I used to be exactly like you. I mean, I want you all to know that I came from a background where I'm not a meditation guru. It's something that I've learned, and now kind of like nothing will come between me and my meditation. So I have a meditation mask because I sleep with my husband, and I put it over my head and I plug in my phone and I just press the meditation of the day. It takes 10 minutes. That's all that it takes every single morning. And in those 10 minutes, I'm starting the day slower, I'm starting the day more present, and I'm starting the day thinking about my own health and what I want to accomplish today. So then I put my feet on the ground after that. I don't put my feet on the ground before that. And I say to myself, the second my feet hit the ground, that today is going to be a great day. Whether it is going to be a great day or not, that doesn't really matter. I set the intention for having a great day. Then I go downstairs directly to my mat where I exercise for 10 to 20 minutes. Then I go into the kitchen, I make a healthy breakfast, I fill a huge bottle of water, and then I dive into my email. That's how I flow in the morning. I highly suggest that you get out of bed and not check your email and not check the news until you are done with the other things that are good for you. And then you can do that. And it doesn't take very long. I mean, that's like 20 minutes and then I'm already in my email.
Yeah, the emails and news will definitely stay there for you. It's easier said than done, but you have a pretty ideal morning routine. So I'll have to take some notes from that for sure.
Actually, on the Unplug website, I have a new thing that we just posted called the morning checklist, which is the 8 steps that I do every single morning before I open up my email. And it has changed my life.
That is awesome. Yeah, I think sometimes people love the idea of having a nice morning routine, and obviously hearing inspirational ones like yours. It's always fun in the moment, but really hard to execute. So I love the idea of a checklist and making it a little bit more doable. And I know when we were chatting the other day, you were mentioning in regards to corporate wellness specifically, this idea of how to actually equip employees to use mental health practices in their day-to-day. So rather than just sending them some resource and saying good luck, actually encouraging them and showing them step-by-step how to get to that ideal morning routine or whatever it may be. So can you walk us through what you've seen on the corporate side at Unplug in terms of how to really empower employees to get to that state?
Well, that's one of the things that I love so much about working with you, Marnie, at ClassPass, because what we're doing is so fascinating. We are basically teaching people everything that they need to know about meditation in 30 minutes. So in our ClassPass session, we do the science, we do the 3 steps for everybody on how they meditate, and then we actually do practices so that they can feel themselves shift, whether it's stopping stress, getting happy quick, or figuring out what their intention is of the day. And then we stick around for 15 minutes and answer their questions or answer the most commonly asked questions if they don't have any. And by the end of that, they're so excited that they actually want to meditate. Because before they start, a lot of them come into this thinking that they can't meditate because they think too much.
Mm-hmm.
They can never clear their mind. And we start off by saying, you're right. You will never be able to clear your mind. You have 50 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. That's about a thought a second. You can't stop your thoughts. They're going to keep coming. And that's the practice of meditation. What we tell them is the first step is that you bring your awareness to your breath. The second step is we get present and aware that we're present in the present moment. And then our mind starts to automatically go into planning mode. We start thinking about all the things we have to do. And then we bring it back like a bicep curl. So we just focus, let it go, our mind will wander, and we continue to bring it back. And we give people that permission, and they're like, wow, I didn't realize it was that easy. And once they understand how easy it is, then we start actually doing it. So they have the experience of meditating before the 30 to 45 minutes are even up. And then we give them the tool. We set them up for meditation challenges on the Unplug app so that they know exactly where to go, where to start, and what to do. Because a lot of people who do these wellness programs, they think it's great, they love it, they have a great experience, and then they forget about it the next day and they don't do it ever again. We don't want that to happen, especially to your employees. We want to make an impact that is going to change the culture of your business, because we don't need secondhand stress. Secondhand stress is when other people are stressed and they make other people stressed that work with them, or when you're stressed and you cause stress with everybody who works with you. So what we do is we really focus on stopping the secondhand stress and helping people create their own personal meditation practices that they fall in love with and that they want to do and want to show up for.
You touched on so many good points there. I think the accessibility and keeping everyone accountable is really key. So I know you touched on challenges. We're very big on that here at ClassPass Corporate as well, doing private sessions so that employees can join together and learn together. And something that I love about the Unplug sessions specifically is how interactive everything is. So I know you mentioned, but for anyone who hasn't done an Unplug session yet, they'll normally stress you out at the beginning with some scenario like your Wi-Fi is broken and you need to hop in a meeting with your boss, get stressed, then go through the breathing technique. And they always ask the audience to, what do you want to feel at the end of the session, which I think is so key, because it's really fun to see for the instructor, not only what the participants are looking for, but to see what your coworkers are looking for and really be in tune with supporting each other and making sure that you're not creating that secondhand stress, as you mentioned. So you also touched on people coming to meditation and feeling like maybe they can't because they think too much and their mind needs to be completely blank. I'm curious if there's any other misconceptions about meditation that you've heard, especially in the corporate world, and how you might debunk those.
Well, another one that we get a lot is that I have no time. And the truth is none of us have time, and nobody wants to take the time to sit down and sit still and do nothing. We all want to be doing. So we always say you have to make the time. And that's why doing it first thing in the morning is the best way to lock in your practice. And locking in not just meditation, but exercise, meal prep. You can lock in so much within the first 45 minutes of your day that the only thing you have to worry about is what happens when you get home from work and everything starts to go south. So I always like to kind of tell people that you can find the time. You don't need to sit still and sit like this to be a meditator. It doesn't need to be long to be effective. And we kind of show them how that is possible. And another thing that we do is we curate with the HR departments, where we'll say to them, we'll have a conversation with them. What do you want to get out of this? How do you want your employees to feel? And they usually have one thing that they want their employees to feel. So we deliver that. And then we'll ask the employees how they want to feel at the end of the session and have them visualize themselves feeling that way. Because the truth is, and this is another thing that people don't realize, that your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So that's why we imagine scenarios and it stresses us out. We can also imagine positive scenarios, successes, and visualize that. And that then unfolds. That's what athletes do, like Serena Williams. Before she plays a tennis match, she visualizes every single point in the game before she even hits the court. So doing that, and that's something that we do in our program as well, which people love, because they all walk out feeling exactly like they wanted to.
Yeah, I love that idea of the visualization. We can all be more like Serena Williams, obviously. That's not a bad thing. And I'm curious, you were mentioning that when you work with corporate partners, you ask the employers how they want employees to feel. Is there one common answer that you tend to get?
It's so interesting because we work with so many different kinds of companies. So some companies just want to give it as a gift to help their employees relax, to show that they care. other companies feel like the employees are in a toxic work environment and they kind of want them to be a little bit more conscious on their own behavior and the behavior around them. Some people want more focus and more productivity. And so they want us to help teach the employees how to clear the cache in their brains, bring it down to the trash folder, and then be able to kind of focus on one thing at a time. And I think this practice really helps people focus on just one thing. And when we focus on just one thing, we're able to achieve a lot more. So, there are so many different things like, the science of smell. We're working with IFF on Friday on, the science of smell and how important that is in mood shifting. And we're going to be doing an event with them. So we'll cater our entire class to work with the products that they've given us. So really, we can actually bring the products of the company into the meditation. And we do that sometimes too.
Yeah, I love that strategy. It's really interesting to hear all the different answers because I think for me, top of mind, I just assumed people want their employees to feel calm or zen after the sessions, but it's of course much more complex than that, especially companies that understand that they have a little work to do with their company culture. It's nice to hear that they're open to addressing it and bringing your team in to help with that.
I would like to add one more thing too, and that is that usually I start off the corporate sessions with ClassPass on doing the everything you need to know about meditation. But Heather Peterson, who's also on this call, is someone who then books multiple sessions. So we do different workshops. So some companies will say, okay, I want you to come in twice a week or, twice a month or once a month. And we'll do different workshops depending on what they're seeing is happening in the atmosphere of their offices. So we'll cater that. And we have a whole list of confidence building, boosting creativity, and different things that we do. And people seem to really resonate with them.
Yeah, that's a great call out. I know I worked with your team, actually, I believe Christina, who will be doing our meditation at the end of the session, specifically on better sleep. I had a corporate partner that just understood their employees were having issues with sleep. It had come up. That's not necessarily a topic that you think would be top of mind in the workplace, but obviously that trickles into so much of what you do day to day. And we did all of these sleep focused meditations. They were the beginning of the day. They weren't at 9 p.m. or anything crazy. They were during the workday. But I thought that was just really interesting that your team was able to make it that specific and cater to the needs of the employees, because that specificity and then like we just talked about, the accountability and really providing a roadmap for what to do is what makes it successful in the execution and not just in the idea.
And in an ideal world, I would love to see companies implement meditation in the morning before people start the day. So we have actually on the app before the morning meeting meditations, and a lot of companies are using that now. And also at the end of the day so that they can clear the day. And one of our teachers, David G, always says, in the morning, it's like we set the table for how we want our day to be. And then in the evening, which is right after work, we clear the table so that we can begin fresh again the next day. And I think it's really important to kind of promote that in your environment to help people start fresh every morning.
I love that analogy. Yeah, that's a great way to think of it. And I know we've spoken quite a bit about how to make employee mental well-being top of mind in a successful way from the employer side. But I'm curious, since you have experience working with corporate partners as well, if you've seen any, I don't want to say face plants, which is our favorite word here at ClassPass, but maybe mistakes that have been made when trying to implement a mental well-being program, and tips that you can give to everyone here in terms of avoiding common mistakes in that regard.
I think the biggest way to make it really successful is to pair it with something in the beginning. So for instance, when we worked with Beauty Counter, the head of Beauty Counter launched a meeting and we were part of her meeting. So we came at the end of that, which meant that the entire company was there and present for the first session. And that was fantastic. That's a great way to start. Sometimes when you throw it out there, people don't know what it is. They aren't really sure, and you're giving them the option or bad timing to not join in. I think pairing it with something that's not optional really helps, because then they can, onboard in an easier way. We've seen programs where, the entire company comes, and then other ones where one person will come because they didn't see it in the Slack channel. So I think it's really important also to have the head of departments start and do it as well, so that it shows the people that work with them that they're doing it, that they're taking it seriously. When you start at the top and trickle down, you're going to have much more of an onboarding than you will if you just say, you should do this, but you're not doing it. So you've got to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. And I think that's a super important thing.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite phrases here at ClassPass as well, that it starts at the top. And when the leaders are showing that mental well-being is actually a priority for them, then it empowers employees. Okay, I'm going to take 30 minutes out of a time when I would normally be working to attend this session. And I think the call out of pairing it with something mandatory is also a really good point, because engagement is always a concern, especially in this world where we have a million Zoom meetings. So being able to bring in any wellness vendor that you're working with and give them access to all of your employees when you know they're going to be there is really crucial. A little calendar trick too that some of my corporate partners use that I really love is starting your meetings at 5 minutes after as well. So if you are in a really meeting heavy environment and everyone has a million Zoom calendar invites, if you start your meeting at 1:05 instead of 1, it gives everyone a chance to decompress, not doing two things at once. So going back to that idea of being present and maybe using Susie's breathing trick in between meetings to reset. So there's a lot of ways to do it right. But yeah, I always love to hear your perspective on just issues that you've seen pop up or learnings, because we learn a lot from those situations as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing, is to not let up. So yes, we introduce it and then people love it and then they forget about it. And then it goes into the Slack channel and nobody sees it again. Mm-hmm. And you're wondering why there's not a lot of people taking advantage of this. So I think also tacking it on to before the meeting or after the meeting is a genius idea. And when you make it shorter, I think that's also a great way to do it, is 30 minutes. So we like to do sometimes a 30-minute session and give people permission to leave and other people permission to stay for that extra 45 or that extra 15 minutes, because 30 minutes is a much easier thing to do than the full 45, but yet they'll want to stay afterwards because they're just going to want to learn more.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. I think people also feel weird and bad leaving meetings early sometimes, but obviously it's better to come than not attend at all. So that's a great trick as well, a shorter version and then a longer version for people that maybe really need it or just have the time to do it.
To clarify, so we'll say this is going to be a 30-minute session and then we'll be staying for 45. So we'll give you permission to leave, or you can stay and continue on with us. And giving them that real permission and starting and ending on time is crucial, because when you don't do that, I think it makes people anxious as well.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. So you set the precedent right off the bat that it's going to be 30 minutes and then it's almost just like a bonus time after that if people have time to hang on.
Right.
I love that strategy. Well, I'm curious because you are in the corporate world and now you are full-time meditation. I know you're still a founder and a CEO and running a business, but knowing that your main focus is meditation now compared to the fashion world, is there anything that you've learned being outside of the true corporate world now in the meditation and mental health space that surprised you a little bit in terms of the routine that you had during the workday, things that you wish you knew when you were in the weeds of the corporate world?
Yeah, I mean, I really wish that I had used these techniques before I sent emails, before I picked up the phone, before I had a meeting, or before, these are techniques that you can easily implement throughout your day that just make you a little more focused, a little more present, and able to listen more, as opposed to just trying to be heard all the time. I mean, I think when I was working in fashion, I was almost like a Tasmanian devil where I'm trashing everything around me, getting a lot done, but not really thinking about, all the things that the trail of that. Whereas now I realize that my ripple really does matter. So if I'm calm, everyone in my company remains calm. If I'm stressed, everyone in my company is stressed. So I feel like I wish I had known that before, when I was in the corporate world. And funnily enough, when there was New York Times wrote a story about Unplug, someone saw it and said, gosh, I wish she was doing that when she worked at Glamour. And I was like, ugh, so yes, I wish I was a little bit more present and a little bit more aware of myself when I was working.
The idea of secondhand stress, I mean, I had never heard of that until you mentioned it when we caught up the other day. And I think it's something that still really translates maybe even more in the virtual world, because we've been living in such a stressful time the past year and a half. So it is something to keep in mind, especially if you're a leader or even on the HR side. If you're interacting with employees, you can affect them in that type of way, even if you don't realize it. And I love the idea of doing these tactics before you do actual work activities. So I've heard the tip of when you're really heated, write an email, but then don't send it and sit on it for a little bit and then see if you want to send it later. I feel like this is the same concept. Maybe write the email, do your box breathing technique, and then decide if you really want to send that email or if you want to edit it a little bit.
There's a huge power in the pause. And the pause is actually just being present in the present moment, slowing down your breath and using your breath as a tool to center yourself. And when we do that, we become more in flow. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help companies flow better. The employees feel taken care of. They feel like the companies care. After we do all of our events, Marnie, with ClassPass, we always send out a survey afterwards. And that is my favorite part, is just reading, first of all, that we normally get 10 out of 10 on everything, that they are so happy, they felt better, and they want to do it again. But the other part that I really love is hearing how it impacted them and how it made them think about their companies. Like, they just really appreciate their companies taking care of them.
Yeah, we've seen the same thing on our side in terms of doing employee surveys. And I think from the HR perspective, especially, sometimes you only hear news when it's bad news, which is never the best feeling. But when you are proactively reaching out to employees for feedback, it's so fun to hear that, there are people that are super appreciative of the benefit or of the efforts that you put into various and assorted events. So if you're not already surveying your employees when you're doing your well-being efforts, definitely recommend implementing that, because it's a great way to get some of that positive feedback in addition to anything that you can improve.
Mm-hmm. And there is an ROI on meditation. There's a book by David Gillies called Meditation at Work, where he actually interviewed Aetna, who did a whole program on the productivity, the absentee rate, and all the different things that happen when you bring a mindfulness program into the workplace. Mm-hmm. And you can see real results there. So it's not just check the boxes, you did something good for your team. It's checking the box that actually will impact your company.
Yeah, and make a lasting difference, like you said, rather than a one and done event or whatever it may be.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we have about 10 more minutes of chatting. So I just wanted to look and make sure we haven't received any questions. If there's anything that you wanted to cover in this session in terms of the attendees that you were excited to talk about that you don't think we've touched on yet, please feel free to throw your questions in there. Susie, I'm curious if there's anything that we haven't covered yet that you really wanted to share from your perspective.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the concept of two books that I love. One is called Tiny Habits, and one is called Atomic Habits. And both of them basically talk about the exact same thing, which is habit stacking. So I know we kind of mentioned it a little bit in my self-care checklist, but habit stacking is the key to success for everything. A lot of people say, oh, this seems hard, or I have no time, or I can't do this. But like I mentioned in the morning, it's really about being proactive instead of reactive. When we're reactive throughout the day, we really get nothing done. But when we're proactive, when we take the moment to habit stack and make it tiny, then we feel successful and then we want to do it. So with meditation, keeping it tiny or making the expectations tiny, like let's all take a challenge and just do 1 minute every single day for 30 days. People will actually want to do more. And when they want to do more, you can just call it extra credit. And if you position it like that, they're going to feel successful. They're going to feel good. The Apple Corporation does different wellness challenges every single month. And at the end of those wellness challenges, like going through a 30-day meditation challenge, if you can prove, like you do on our app and show, I've done it for 30 days, they then give them a blanket or a baseball cap or some kind of random swag that, doesn't cost a lot, doesn't mean a lot, but it means a lot to them. Like I did it. So having people feel successful, that you're not only giving them something, but that you are positioning it for success, I think is the key. And that could just mean like making a PDF image to share with everybody on how to.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. We love challenges, as I mentioned too. And I think swag, extra ClassPass credits, some credit to the Unplug app, whatever it may be, people love that feeling of accomplishment. And I think you made such a good point about making the expectations tiny, so then you're able to exceed them. And once you start, it's easier to keep going. We always say that from the fitness side as well. You might not feel like working out one day, but as soon as you get to the gym and start working out for 5 minutes, just say you're going to commit 5 minutes. Odds are once you start, you'll want to keep going. And I know it can be defeating when you set these lofty goals for yourself and then you feel like you're falling short. So that's a really great takeaway. Keep them attainable.
That's why I like that. I like having my mat put in the place in my house. So I know I go from the meditation to the mat. So I get the meditation and the workout.
Before you even look at your phone.
Before I even drink the coffee. So I meditate. Happening. I like to do that.
I love that. Well, we just got one question in the chat, so I want to make sure we can address it before we head into our meditation session. Alexis, thank you so much for the question. Alexis asked, did you use the visualization technique when growing the success of your own company? Yeah, let's dive into building Unplug a little bit.
Building Unplug was the most stressful and the easiest thing I've ever done because, when you build something that's never been created before, you're setting the standard for everything. So yes, I did. I visualize it every day and I visualize it every morning and I visualize what I want to do throughout the entire day, every day. And I end up accomplishing a lot more when I do that. On the Unplug app, there's a thing called, I know it's Ben Decker's agenda meditation, and I do that one a lot, where you kind of think about your agenda, or actually one of my favorite ones is the rock star meditation. When you imagine you are a rock star, you wake up, you're in the best outfit of your life, you're doing everything you want, you're in your dream apartment, your dream and you just kind of, from the beginning of the morning till the end of the day, everything goes perfectly. What does that look like for you? And that's an easy thing to do. So I do that a lot when building Unplug. What do I want it to be? Where do I want it to go? And, we have a very simple philosophy here, and that is that we just want people to feel 10 times better after they've interacted with us. And I say that at the front desk at the studio. We have a live studio here in Los Angeles. I say that for the app. I say that for the corporate program. Our only intention is to make people feel better, because they're always going to remember how you made them feel. And if you make them feel good, they'll want more and more and more.
Well, I think that is the perfect place to cap it, so we can give Christina some time to kick us off in the meditation. Susie, thank you so much again for joining. We will be sending out a promo code for Unplug specifically to everyone who attended. You'll also get more information on the ClassPass corporate program, should you wish to chat more about that as well.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Susie.
I'm excited to meditate with Christina Huntington.
She is such a pro. She is our go-to for so many of our corporate classes. Christina, I'm making you co-host right now, so you should be
perfect.
Good.
All right. And then I just want to, I'm gonna share. I'll bring up our little meditation scene here for everyone so we can just dive in. All right.
And I did have a quick poll, since we have a minute, if that's okay,
Yep.
Christina, just out of curiosity. We have a poll about everyone's meditation experience. So I know, like I said, I personally am very much a beginner, but curious if there's anyone who loves meditation, is a pro. That way, Christina, you have some context when you start the session in terms of who's in the room.
I love that. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right.
Looks like we have a lot of people that have done it a few times, but not yet a habit. So So the perfect
Okay.
level.
Yeah, perfect. And whether you're an old pro or you're in between or have never done it before, all that you need to remember to do today is just follow along to the sound of my voice as best you can. I'm here to be your anchor and guide to bring you back to the present moment. And this should be a really easy, gentle, we're going to do a little bit of deep relaxation, a little bit of self-listening, and a little bit of gratitude work. So just let's get ourselves into position, meditation position. So you can be seated or lying down, either is fine. Just make sure that you have a straight, elongated, supported spine. And make sure that if you're sharing space, that you're not going to be interrupted for this next little bit of time that we have together. Make sure that your sounds are off on your phone and computer. We're going to have a little short and sweet 15-minute meditation, and I want you to get the most of our time together. So make those few adjustments, and then we'll go ahead and dive in. But yes, I'm Christina Huntington with Unplug Meditation, and thank you for being here. And thank you, Susie, and thank you, Marnie. Let's go ahead and dive in. So taking a moment to get yourself into your position, seated or lying down, straight, elongated, supported spine, closing your eyes, and just starting to slow down and steady and deepen the breath. So off the bat, I want you to just start to imagine warming up the front of your body, your torso, just your chest, your solar plexus, your upper belly and lower belly. Letting all of that go soft and loose so that you're just creating a little bit more space, a little bit more opening for a little bit more air. And then really imagining dropping your mind and your breath now into your deep belly. So letting your belly go soft and loose. We don't need to suck it in or keep it tight. No tension, just letting your lower belly go soft and loose and floppy. As you start to imagine actually bringing your breath in and out from your deep belly beneath your belly button. So breathing in, letting the deep belly expand, and then breathing out, feeling the deep belly contract. So that you're starting to create this little gentle rolling wave of air coming in and out of your deep belly. Breathing in from the nose, into the deep belly, and then out from the mouth, long breath out from the deep belly. When we connect to deep belly breathing, making this tiny micro adjustment to our breath, it calms and balances the central nervous system. So now as you continue to slow, steady, and deepen the breath, just become aware of how that already starts to send out that little bit of a calming, comforting, cooling signal to your nervous system, to your mind, to your whole body and being, that in this exact moment, all is well. And in this exact moment, you are safe. And so it really is safe for you now to let the nervous system and the mind take a really well-deserved, well-earned break to just rest, restore, and rejuvenate now. As you allow your deeper aspects, your higher wisdom and intelligence to step forward and lead and guide your way through the rest of your meditation and the rest of your day today. And now taking a little inhale in through the nose. Hold it for just a second and then out through the mouth, long breath, feeling your whole physical body warm up, soften, relax, release, and let go completely as you breathe out. Letting your body just let go of anything it's been holding on to, anything that's accumulated this week. Feeling your body warm up and soften. And again, little inhale in through the nose. Hold it for just a second. And out through the mouth, long breath. Feeling your mind now warm up, soften, relax, release, let go completely. Just letting go of anything that you've been holding on to in your mind, whatever's accumulated in your mind this week. Letting your mind soften and let go. And again, a little inhale in through the nose. Hold it for just a second. And a big long exhale out through the mouth. Now allowing your heart, the center of your chest, to warm up, soften, release, relax, and let go completely. Really now allowing anything that you've been holding on to in your heart, anything that's accumulated here in your heart this past week, this whole year, allowing your heart to warm up, soften, and drop away its cares. Bit by bit, breath by breath. Now beginning to feel your physical body and the physical world around you really gently starting to warm up, soften, dissipate and disappear into the background just for now. As you start to shift your focus of attention deep, deep within yourself now. And the first place you're going to stop at today is the place in the center of your chest. So this is your deep heart, your personal inner guidance system and truth center, which is also your source of all powerful, all healing, unconditional love, which you have a limitless supply of here within yourself. So just now imagining connecting to your deep heart, lighting up that connection. So actually imagining lighting up a brilliant ball of light, like a glowing sun or a flame in the center of your chest. And as you breathe now, I want you to imagine breathing into that light in the center of your chest, growing it bigger and brighter and wider as you breathe in. And then softening and letting go and just surrendering into your own all-powerful, all-healing love as you breathe out. Warming up, lighting up the heart as you breathe in, softening as you breathe out. And one more time, big breath, more energy, more openness, more life, more expansion in the heart. Breathing out, feeling everything soften, relax, release, let go completely. And from this place now connected to your deep heart, you can introduce just a tiny self-care and self-love tool. This is the act of self-listening. So placing your mind, your vision, and your listening, dropping all of those into the center of your chest so that you are now connected to your heart vision, your heart listening, your heart wisdom and intelligence, listening from this place. And taking a moment to tell yourself internally quietly, I'm here, I'm listening, I love you. What do you need me to be aware of? And then just listen for what your own heart needs to tell you today. And then asking your heart, what do you need from me today to feel safe, loved, cared for, and at peace? What do I need to provide myself with to feel truly loved and cared for here? And then just making a commitment to yourself. What's one real way that I can fill my own needs today? What's one real thing I'll do today to make myself feel loved, cared for, and at peace? Good job. And thanking your heart for whatever came through today. Thanking yourself for receiving that information. As we dive in just one level deeper here, deeper into your heart. And just taking a moment, looking around at the landscape of your life right now. Allowing your heart to begin to show you, what am I grateful for in my life right now? Who and what do I most appreciate? And just see what your heart has to say and show you. What do I appreciate in myself right now? What am I proud of? What am I doing at least a little bit better than I was before? What's the progress I'm making? I'm going one level deeper here. What are the gifts that I'm being given right now? How am I being supported by life? And one little level deeper. What are my unique gifts to share and make a positive impact on the world around me? What's the gift that I am in every conversation, every room I walk into? And then lastly, imagining the day in front of you and asking my deep heart, how do I want to feel today? How do I want to show up for myself, my relationships, and my life today? Just see what your heart has to say. Then calling up those desired feeling being states from the soles of your feet up to the top of your head, the tips of your fingers out through the front of your chest, out from your heart. Really generating that from within, embodying it, calling it up, and then moving it out into the world around you and allowing this energy to lead and guide your way through the rest of your day and week ahead. As you very gently come back to the sound of my voice, the feeling of your breath, and take a little inhale in through the nose, wiggling your fingers and toes, waking up your shoulders, out through the mouth, long breath. And then very, very gently in your own time, as you're ready, you can start to blink your eyes open and gently come back. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. That's our meditation this morning. I hope that you feel more peaceful, more uplifted. And if you get a moment, just take 1 minute before you go out into the rest of your day to just sit or lie quietly, stop meditating or doing anything, and just allow yourself to be a little sponge to soak in that gentle, calm, uplifted energy that you just self-created and gifted to yourself, and allow that to carry you through the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marnie. Thank you, Susie.